Hey guys, this is Woodshop Junkies, and today I'm going to continue making the most of my small shop by adding retractable casters to the bench draw stand I recently started building. For me, the ability to move everything and anything within my shop is key to getting the most out of the small space I have available. So today I'm going to use my incomplete drill press stand to test a design I made for retractable casters. Now you do get store-bought casters with a retractable feature, but they all tend to operate individually. While I want all four casters I'm going to be installing to the stand to engage and disengage simultaneously. The store-bought casters also often need to be installed on the outside of the unit so that the operator can access them. This won't work for me because I'm working on a modular workshop concept, which requires this unit to move up against another and lock together. Having the casters on the outside would create an obstruction. Moving the mechanism to the inside of the enclosure will also make for a much cleaner overall look on the finished product. But this creates a new problem because most designs make use of a lever to engage the casters. The lever needs to produce enough power to lift the entire unit off the ground and therefore often has a very long stroke. But to accommodate such a lever I would be sacrificing a lot of the space I could be using for storage. So in an ideal situation I would be able to produce similar power with a shorter stroke. Now I will be getting to how I hope to achieve this in a moment, but first I'm going to size up all my components. Now I'm using plywood and aluminium tubing or piping for the bulk of this project because it's mostly a prototype and I'm trying to keep costs down. But I do suspect that I might need to swap it out for more robust materials, but I'll have to see how it goes. Right, so these are going to be installed underneath the unit on a pivot, and by rotating them on that pivot they will be able to change between their stored position and their working position. Right, so these are going to be installed on the sides of the wheel holders like this, and they are going to have two functions. Firstly, they are going to accommodate the pivot point by installing a shaft through the drill holes, and then secondly they are going to act as a short lever. But before these units can be assembled, some additional preparation needs to be done on these pieces first. Right, so this is pretty much what I'm going for. To engage the casters, I would apply pressure at this point, which should lift the unit and allow me to roll it around. Now, I'm not going for a lot of lift, only about 15 millimeters or just over a half inch, which should be more than enough to move the drill stand around unobstructed. Now at this point I want to mention that my pivot point placement in relation to my caster is not one that will produce the most power, but I played around with the pivot point in an effort to shorten the stroke at the end of the lever to make the entire mechanism more compact. To engage the casters, one would normally extend the lever on the back set and apply your pressure at this point. Instead of doing this, I'm going to install a third lever. The reason I'm doing this I will get to in a moment. Right, so this is pretty much what the third lever is going to look like. It's obviously not assembled yet. I need to add the foot piece over here, and I might remake it because I'm considering dropping this hole down a little bit. But this is basically going to be the pivot point over here at the back, and in here I'm installing a bar to apply the pressure at this end of the mechanism. Now there is two very important reasons why I decided to use a third lever for this. It will allow me to play around with the pivot point in relation to the rest of the mechanism. By moving it backward or forward, I will be able to adjust the stroke length and force applied. And by taking it up or down, I'm able to offset the operating region of the stroke. So my next step is installing all of this into the drill stand. Right, so the mechanism seems to work just fine, but the real test will be when the stand is loaded with weight. And it might seem that I've concentrated the wheels too much towards the center of the stand, but my focus point when designing it was the drill press, which will be the bulk of the weight. So if I plan properly, everything should work out. So even with the drill on the stand, the mechanism still engages very easily, and to complete it I need to add a latch to keep it in its engaged position. But for cosmetic reasons I'm only going to install the latch once I've done the trim pieces as I build out the unit in the coming weeks. So if you want to see that, remember to subscribe. Also, though the mechanism seems to work just fine for its current application, I do want to mess around with the stability a bit by messing around with the size of its footprint. I'm looking at setting the frontal wheels a little bit forward and a little bit further apart. With a little bit of refinement, it can become a standard addition to all my shop tables and stands. That's going to have to be it for this video. I still have a lot of work to do on this stand in the coming weeks, while simultaneously trying to squeeze in some work on refurbishing my saw. I've also got 1 or 2 shop improvement builds I want to get to, but for now, thank you so much for watching. Till next time, cheers.